So last week, I think you focused on talking to your doctor, correct? And preparing for doctor visits?
I wasn't here last week, so I don't know what you guys talked about.
I'm pretty sure that's what you covered last week. I'll go ahead and get started while we wait for the handouts. Tell you what we're going to be talking about today. Today we're going to talk about understanding the importance of advocacy through active participation in treatment, gain knowledge about the role and responsibility of treatment providers, develop strategy to promote self-directed care, and begin to develop a relapse reduction plan. I would have phrased all that a little bit simpler. Hold it for a second. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right, so what does that mean? Understanding the importance of advocacy through active participation in treatment. What does it mean to you guys? Prince, I'll start with you. What's not being active in your treatment?
Not being active, not letting your doctor know what's going on with you, something like that, like,
Yeah,
not.
I agree.
Letting them know what's going on.
Let me go ahead and take a roll. I know most people's names. I don't know yours.
Yeah, I'm Jenkins.
I'm sorry?
Jenkins, Larry Jenkins.
Jenkins, Larry. There you go. Larry Jenkins, Dave 10. All right, Andrew Phillips is not here. Charlotte Coleman, Jacinta Williams, Jesse Eldridge, John Schmidt is here. Larry Jones, Larry Jenkins, Larry Galbraith is here. Prince Ajali is here. Bob Morgan is here. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And what was your answer? Okay. I agree with Prince. Basically, what we're talking about is there are two ways to approach going to the doctor. You go to the doctor and the doctor says, well, here's what's wrong with you, take this, and I'll see you in 3 months. That's not active participation. Active participation involves the rest of the things I mentioned. Gaining knowledge about the role and responsibility of the treatment providers, developing strategies to promote self-directed care. So basically, you go into the doctor, like Ernest talked about last week, knowing what's important to you. So maybe you've been feeling depressed recently, but you don't necessarily want more antidepressants because they make you manic and you're worried about having manic episodes or something like that. Does that make sense? So you have to know what's important in your life, and then the doctor is supposed to tell you what he thinks is wrong and what your options are. And a lot of times they don't tell you what the options are. They'll just say, my doctor will say, well, David, I think maybe we should increase this. Well, what are our other options? What else can we do? That's my job, and your job is to ask your doctor, what else? What else? What are our other options? Yes, sir. Bob?
Sorry, I didn't interrupt you, David.
No, go for it.
The doctor first has to find out what's wrong with you, how your illness is diagnosed. And a lot of psychiatrists, one of the first things they do is they do a psychiatric evaluation on someone to find out what the root of the problem is or what type of psychiatric illness is before they prescribe the medicine.
I'm going to argue with you just a little bit because you're right. However, doctor is trying to do a psychiatric analysis on you, trying to figure out what's wrong. How are they going to do that? By asking you questions and you telling them answers to the questions. They may not be asking the right questions. Or maybe you don't feel comfortable saying, well, yeah, I have been feeling like hurting myself recently. You don't want to tell them that. So they can only guess based on what you tell them and what, so.
Some doctors are better than other doctors.
Yeah, I agree. I have a really good doctor that I really like. But even with her, I have to ask, well, what are the other options? Or, my doctor says, well, I think this is the problem, and I have to ask, well, could it also be this, or could it be, something else? So you should question.
Question.
Yes, sir.
What if you've never had a psych evaluation, only if you've had it like a PES or a psych unit or whatever?
I would argue that if you are in the mental health care system, you have had a psychiatric evaluation, whether you know it or not.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just asking, that's all.
No, they actually, I've been told, they actually evaluate you every time you go in, and some things are pretty basic and simple, like they want to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself if you go home or hurt somebody else. I mean, they're always looking for signs like that. So they're always doing a basic evaluation. Session themes for today: knowledge is power. Knowledge of resources allows you to seek the best treatment available. It is an important step to empowerment. Advocating for yourself supports recovery. Advocating for yourself is about getting involved in your treatment. Getting involved in your treatment includes communicating with your doctor, like we talked about already. My wellness plan should be part of my provider's plan. They need to know what your plans are. Now, I'm just sitting in for Ernest, and I feel really inadequate covering this because I'm not sure how deep he's gone into the wellness management recovery plans with you guys. Have you guys done personal plans yet, or started personal plans?
He has in the past done dimensions like independence, education,
Yeah.
spirituality.
Yeah. And documenting all those
Those
things.
different
Yep.
dimensions of wellness, you could say.
Well, that's a different class. What wellness management recovery is all about is creating a personal plan for yourself. So when I catch myself starting to get depressed, this is what I'm going to do. These are the signs that I'm getting depressed. These are the things that I can do. These are the things I need to make sure my doctor knows if I start to get depressed, et cetera, et cetera.
He has said in this group, setting goals for yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about those goals with your case manager and your doctor.
Absolutely. So my doctor needs to know what I do when I start to get too angry, start to hate everybody in the world, or start to get manic, et cetera, et cetera. And then advocating for others can be powerful. All right. Okay. Getting support for your recovery plan. This session provides a lot of information about what treatment providers do, how to get the right care, and practicing good communication. The main goal of this session is to help participants have a positive relationship with their treatment providers and learn how to manage their care. How many people in here feel like they can talk to their therapist or psychiatrist or case manager without worrying about them overreacting?
All my doctors and case managers were very good. So.
You feel comfortable talking to yours? Larry, do you feel comfortable talking to your providers? Good. All right. Each community has a unique set of mental health services available either through private practice or community mental health centers. You may have used these services in the past, or you may be new to the system. Either way, it's important for you to begin to understand the types of services that are offered in the community and who might be able to help you achieve your personal recovery goals. Because your psychiatrist and your therapist may not necessarily be the best or only people that can help you. So the first handout, I see a list of mental health services. Many of these services could be offered in a community mental health agency, and I'm sorry I forgot to silence my phone. There we go. Mental health evaluation, case management, medication services, peer support, well that's like the recovery center or other consumer-led programs, support groups, individual therapy, group therapy, social skills training. We do some of that here. Family, psychoeducation, and other family services. Day treatment programs and other hospital programs. Anybody know of any good ones? I know the GCB has the Wellness Center. Are there any other day center type?
This mental health program's good.
Yes.
Recovery center.
But we focus on education, which is on the list. What about some that are called day treatment programs where you can just go in and participate in different activities? I know, like I said, I know GCB has the Wellness Center. What are some other places? Community centers that have programs? You don't know of any?
There's different mental health programs in the city that would have that.
Like what? That's what we're looking for. does Talbot House or?
I
Linden
was,
Center have, like,
that's the
day-
program I was telling before I came here, was Talbot House and Glenmore have Price Hill, but the reason why we had Dave Schumacher and I, other people had a program here, that one shut down.
Okay,
There was Marlowe House also, but that program shut down also.
okay. Let's keep going through the list. Support groups, well, Christ Hospital has some. We post some flyers on some on our bulletin board. We obviously have some support groups here. Education, that's what the Recovery Center does. Emergency services. This is a good one I like to talk about with groups because every group I've ever facilitated or been a part of here at the Recovery Center, people have had really interesting stories and opinions about different emergency services. So what hospital, well, since we're on camera, maybe we shouldn't name the names. Are there hospitals that you would try to avoid if you were being hospitalized for a psychiatric issue? Yes or no? Don't necessarily list hospitals.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Now, this time I think we can name the hospital. What hospital would you rather go to? If the police or somebody or your therapist said, you know what, I think you need to go to the hospital for a few days, and you got to pick which hospital you went to, which one would you go to if you know?
Christ Hospital,
Christ? I've heard good things about
because
Christ.
most of my medical
Right,
work.
Romans.
Huh?
Romans.
Romans?
Yeah, over there by Clifton. No, and over there by yeah, right. Oh, well.
That's all right.
I don't know.
Me
I don't
neither.
know which one.
I don't want to go to the hospital anymore.
I don't either.
I went to Christ Hospital many years ago, and it was scary, and it was,
If I say Christ, yeah.
yeah. But I've heard good things about Christ now. So, but a lot of people don't know you do have a choice. So if you're being forced or sent, or you want to voluntarily go to the hospital, you get to choose. You can choose which hospital you go to, unless the police are picking you up and taking you.
If you don't mind me saying
Yeah.
this, David, when I had the stomach virus, I had a choice of which hospital I wanted to go to.
And which one did you go to?
The one, I went to Rookwood,
Okay.
because they were really nice to me.
Okay. All right, what else is on the list? Occupational therapy. ICRON has some job classes. Recreational therapy. I thought I knew about a lot of resources. Recreational therapy, I guess the YMCA or, well, where are some places you can go and play cards or learn to do other things, take classes on fun stuff?
Playing cards would be like different senior citizen centers or something like that, play cards maybe.
Okay, what if you're not a senior citizen though? Where are some places you can go? Anybody? No.
They do have a program at the Blue Ash YMCA.
Yeah.
They have a game room there.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking about. Where are some places you can go just have fun? You know, clean, safe, healthy fun. Anybody?
The library.
Library, I guess.
Library, yeah.
Okay.
But can I back you up for
Yeah.
a minute? I didn't know ICON had job classes.
Yes, they do. They have excellent classes. They have classes where they teach people how to write resumes, how to interview. They have teach how to use the computer, because a lot of jobs you have to use a computer or a cash register. They have job coaches. They do a lot of work with people who want to work.
Into that.
Okay. All right, employment services, well, that's kind of the same thing. ICRON, GCB has good employment services as well. Integrated mental health and substance abuse treatment. I've been fortunate. I know half the people here have substance abuse problems as well as mental health problems. I don't know of any good rehab places.
There's Alcoholics Anonymous to help people with drinking problems.
True. What about inpatient alcohol
I
treatment?
heard that, yeah.
They have that at the hospitals, I thought.
Just hospitals, or do they have places that specialize just in rehab still? Nobody knows? Okay. Access to assertive community treatment teams, ACT teams, and other specialty services.
Hey Dave,
Yes.
I would like to say is that I think that, I'm assuming recreational therapy is arts and crafts.
I think honestly, I'm not as, it's not in the book. I think recreational therapy is anything that you do that you don't have to do just because you want to have fun. And I mean, me and my neighbors will sometimes sit out in front of our apartment building and just shoot the breeze and just chat. To me, that's recreational therapy because I'm getting out of my head, I'm just enjoying life, enjoying the weather. Anything you do that you don't have to do, that you do for fun, that's.
Like someone mentioned about YMCA.
YMCA.
But I think there's been advertisement in magazines I get in the mail that talks about different types of gymnasiums that people can do physical or recreational activities at.
Okay,
Different types.
I agree. All right, now the big question for the group. How have different services supported your wellness and recovery? Or what services have you found the most helpful in your wellness and recovery? Personally, my case manager. Without her, I wouldn't have Medicaid, I wouldn't have a therapist, I wouldn't be working on some of my daily living assessment stuff. My case manager has just been a really, really good asset for me. I went to a support group, depression support group, out near where I live, and that really got the ball rolling on me working on my recovery. That helped me a lot. Anybody, what kind of services, any of those services on that list have helped you the most in your recovery?
I'd like to say my sister.
Okay?
Can it be a family member?
Yep. We're looking for services, but whatever's helped you the most.
Like I mentioned, this program, but the 2 mental health programs I attended before
Okay.
this one. So.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, just this program, it's about it.
Okay. All right. Moving on, utilizing your treatment team. Knowing your resources is one thing, coordinating with the ones you already have is another. Second page of your handout. Whether you've been working with the same case manager or the same psychiatrist for years, or if you have been introduced to your team recently, it's important to know all the people on your team and how their roles impact your care. Now, getting to know your treatment team, the handout, second page. It lists case manager, physician, pharmacist. How many people have ever called their pharmacist? I do, all the time. And my family doctor even said, you know what? Yes, I'm your doctor, but you should really talk to your pharmacist because they specialize in that. And what I wanted to know was, hey, I'm taking this from my psych doctor and you're wanting me to take this, so should I not take them at the same time? Is one going to cause the other to not be as effective? I call Kroger Pharmacy all the time and ask to speak to a pharmacist, and I'll ask them questions like that. Sometimes I'll have embarrassing questions about my medicine, like, hey, I want to have a couple beers tonight because I haven't done it in a long time, but which of my medicines shouldn't I take if I'm going to have a couple beers? And they'll tell me, they'll be honest, and they'll tell me. So you can call your pharmacist and ask a lot of questions about your medication.
The medicine I received is in the mail. The pharmacy, which is QL Pharmacy, that's at the top of our house.
Yeah.
If I'm running low on, I let them know how much I got left. They mail it off in the mail.
Yep. But you can call them.
Yeah.
And you can ask them questions. Nurse, I don't really have a nurse. Therapist, general practitioner, I guess that's family doctor, that's what I call it. Peer support, you guys have the recovery center. There are other peer supports out there. Consumer advocate. How many people know that you have a consumer advocate?
What does that mean?
That means that there is a person that everybody in this room can call and file a grievance against your case manager, file a grievance against your therapist. Ask, hey, should my doctor be allowed to talk to me this way? My doctor wants to do this, I really don't want to, but I'm feeling pressured by my doctor. There is a mental health, each county has a mental health board, and each mental health board has a client's rights advocate. Their job is to fight, even the mental health board, on your behalf. And it's free. You can call them. They will answer any questions. Hey, my doctor wants to do this. do I have to say yes? And they'll tell you no, because basically you pretty much don't have to do anything the doctor said. My doctor did this. Are they allowed to do that? And the client's rights advocate might say, well, yeah, they're allowed to do that, but here are your options. Or they'll say, well, no, they really shouldn't have done that. I'm going to have a talk with them. And they do. Every time I call my client's rights officer, whatever I'm complaining about gets resolved like that. Because your providers do not want the county mental health board calling them saying, why is your client calling us asking about this? So it's like a business not wanting you to go to the Better Business Bureau. So it's the Hamilton County Mental Health Board, and you ask for the client's rights officer. If you have any questions, any complaints, you call them, and they really do. They're like bulldogs. They like jumping on cases. Team supervisor. Most people don't know it, but in my case, it's my case manager. But if you get all your care from one agency, there's somebody in charge of you when it comes to all those people. Usually it's a case manager, because they coordinate all the care. So if your psychiatrist has an issue and they want your therapist to know about it, they'll go to your case manager. If you talk to your therapist about something and they're maybe worried about you, they'll talk to the psychiatrist and case manager before they maybe, call the police and have you put in the hospital or something. Does that make sense? But there's a team supervisor for you in most mental health agencies. An employment specialist. Most people don't know they exist. It's free. Most people also don't know that you are allowed to work up to a certain amount, or whatever you're capable of, and not lose Social Security benefits.
That's technically not true.
Social Security, SSI, you can still work and you don't lose all of your benefits. You lose some. SSDI, you can make a certain amount of money and not lose any SSDI
Okay, that makes
benefits.
a lot more sense. I wasn't trying to be mean.
No, that's all right.
Since
You
I'm
have a question?
considered by the federal government to be mentally disabled to the extent I can't do a full-time job that requires full-time hours, and I get money from Social Security or the federal government at the beginning of each month. If I went into a full-time job, that would be cut off,
Yes.
say, because I'm considered by the federal government or Social Security to be mentally disabled to the extent I can't do a full-time job, and they're sending money in my check account at the beginning of each month.
That is correct. But a lot of people don't know that, one, you can make some extra money and not lose your benefits. And two, a lot of my therapist and every psychiatrist I've ever had has encouraged me to work or continue working or get a job. The only reason I'm here is because I was sitting in my house every day, all day, by myself, not doing anything. And they said, you gotta get out of the house. You gotta start going to groups, you gotta go get a part-time job flinging burgers. My first part-time job after I got seriously disabled was McDonald's. And I flipped burgers a couple hours a day, a few days a week. And it got me out of the house. And then I came here. So it's really good for your health in general, in my opinion, and every doctor I've ever had. Anybody? Thoughts, questions about working part-time or staying active?
I did it before, but I think
It's all right.
depending on what kind of job you get, because the job that I put in for, they gave me something else instead of that. They worked me down real good. That's why I'm wearing this glove. And I even got a slight, I probably gonna have to get I really hate to do that, but I'm probably gonna have to get a surgery on my stomach. I got a slight hernia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's painful.
Yeah.
Every person that's ever talked to me about working, yes, sir.
Sorry
Bob.
if I.
No, it's all right, Bob.
As far as my part-time job, the awards I've received down there, when I was down there for 10 years, another member of my family and I could go to the Syndicate building, Northern Kentucky, receive a free buffet dinner,
It's a pretty fancy place, isn't it?
and I received a 10-year plaque that indicates I had my part-time job down there for 10 years. And I also was given a book that had my name in it, under 10-year service, and they brushed on my name in it. So
Very nice.
all the honorable job shirts now all indicate how many years I had my part-time job down there.
Yep. But everyone that comes to me and says they feel bad that they're not working or can't work full-time, my go-to response to them is, well, that's why you're on disability, because even the government agrees you can't work. There's a reason why you're on disability. So don't feel bad that you're not working full-time, because if you could, you wouldn't be on disability.
I feel bad myself.
Yeah, it is. When I stopped working, it killed my ego. And what I learned, my therapist helped me learn that at the time my whole self-esteem was tied to me working, and me making money, and me providing for my family. You know what I mean? So when I wasn't able to work anymore, I got so depressed. Yes, sir.
When some people get to that point, they can always go into early retirement. There's such thing as early retirement, I think, or something like that.
Yep.
They go into it if they can't actually do jobs for some reason or another, or just want to take an early retirement.
I would, that's me.
Okay, let's move on. Provider roles. What role do you think your case manager has in your treatment?
To help you out.
Can you be more specific? We're just looking at the second handout, getting to know your treatment team. We're looking at that list of.
What advice the case manager gives you about the goals you set with them? Whether what goal could be better than another goal? What could be a near future goal? What could be a far future goal?
Anybody else? What do you think your case manager's job is? I asked mine once. I'll tell you what her answer was, but.
It's to help you with different things that you need help with, like Social Security could be one of them. Let's see, medical.
Yeah, that's exactly what my case manager said, help you with whatever you need help with. That's why I consider my case manager the most important. What do you, and I like this one, let me go to, you're a psychiatrist, physician. What role do you think your psychiatrist is supposed to play? What's their job in your life, in your opinion?
They're supposed to find out what do you do daily, your daily routine. Do you go anywhere? Do you stay in all day? Do you have any problems with anybody, or you feel like you might want to hurt them or hurt yourself?
What do you think they should do with all that information?
When they get the information, I think they give it to your doctor, your psych
Yeah.
doctor.
I disagree with this.
That's why I wanted to talk about it. What do you think?
I think psychiatrists are there to treat, not to tell them their history or anything.
I think you're both right to a degree. Bob, what do you think that's like?
When I was seeing both my licensed psychologist and then my psychiatrist, what my parents told them, I think of the past a lot. I think of stuff that happened many years ago that were not very good things that happened. So,
I think you're right, Larry, but they can't treat you without knowing what's going on in your life, what you do, what's important to you. Don't you think?
I do not. I'd rather pass on this.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. What's the Larry? Sorry.
That's all right.
What about the family doctor?
Take care of you if you're sick.
Okay. What else? Anything else? What to me this is a little condescending question, I don't know. What responsibilities do I have in my care?
try to motivate yourself, put forth more effort in what the doctor's recommended you to do. If it's something constructive to do that requires effort, like just requires more effort.
Okay?
Motivation may be a factor that could help you out.
Well, sometimes the problem for a person with a mental health problem is
They
that they're
can't be
depressed and they
motivated.
don't have the motivation. So
Right.
how can they do that? So
Right.
I would disagree with you just for that reason
Right.
alone.
Yeah.
But I agree. If you're not
Because if you're not doing anything,
suffering
I
from
mean,
a
But-
problem that causes lack of motivation, you're right. It's your job to stay motivated, to to work on your recovery. What else? It's your responsibility. I think it's pretty simple. My answer is, my job is to go in when I'm talking to my psychiatrist and be as honest as I can. Tell them what I feel, tell them what's important to me, and then, and this is the tricky part, decide what I want to do. Because most people assume the doctor says, well, you're bipolar, you need to take this, or you're schizophrenic, you need to take this medication. Remember what I said earlier, you should add, well, are you sure about that? You can get a second opinion, and when they say, I'd like you to try this medication, your job is to say, what are the other options? One of the options is always not to take any medication. Some doctors may label you non-compliant. If they say, well, I really want you to do this, and you say, well, I don't think I'm going to do that. They'll label you non-compliant. A good doctor will have a conversation with you about it. Well, why don't you want to do this? Well, I want to research, I want to know what my other options are. I want to find out what the side effects of this medication is. I want to, see how that's going to affect my life and the things that are important to me. Like maybe I have a girlfriend now. I didn't have a girlfriend for a long time. So is this medication going to affect my relationship with my girlfriend? Is it going to make me so tired that I can't go out and do things that are fun? So my job is to go in, be as honest as possible, and then make decisions about what I want to do. That's my opinion as far as what my role is. But what do you guys think?
When the doctor asks you questions, you have to be honest, truthful, tell them the truth, be honest, and do what the doctor recommends. Follow through the doctor's recommendation.
If that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But
Yeah.
my job is to make sure you're aware that you can ask them questions and you can ask them for alternative options. You don't have to do what they recommend. Now, I've struggled with this in the past because I think, you know what, I did not go to school for, how long did doctors go to school for, 6 years, 10 years? I did not go to school for 10 years. So if a psychiatrist says, hey, this is what's wrong with you, I think you need to take this. Me personally, at least at first, it was hard for me to question that doctor. It was like, well, that's what they get paid for. That's what they went to school for. Of course they know it. Yeah, of course I should take that. Who am I to question this person with all this education? But we're not questioning their intelligence. We're not questioning them as a person, as a human being. We're simply asking, okay, you think I should take this. What are the other options? And what are the pros and cons of each option? Why do you think I should take this? What do you think it'll do for me? Et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? So, but I see just wanting to blindly follow them, because when I first started getting treatment, I did. And I even remember I had a therapist said, well, did you talk to your doctor about the fact that you don't want to take this medicine? And I was like, and I remember saying something like, well, no, why would I? They're the doctor. That's what they get paid to do. Yes, sir.
Like you mentioned about malpractice, and I mentioned about some doctors are better than other doctors. There's even doctors who are guilty of so much malpractice that they're sent to jail for that. There have been doctors sent to jail because they're cheating on malpractice as being a doctor.
Probably, but I think,
Most doctors are
yeah,
good.
I think just like carpenters, you're going to find a carpenter who might steal jewelry out of your dresser while he's working on something in your kitchen. There's always going to be bad people in every job, but I don't think we should just assume everyone's going to be bad like that. Does that make sense?
I would say most doctors in this city
Yeah.
and here in Cincinnati would not be guilty of that.
Yeah.
As far as being of so much malpractice that they're sent to jail for that. So.
And nowadays with social media and everybody having a smartphone, if you did have a doctor that was doing something egregious, you'd hear about it on the news, and you have heard about doctors on the news who get in trouble for doing stupid stuff. So hopefully it's
That goes
rare.
for other people like politicians,
Oh,
lawyers, stuff
absolutely.
that,
Every job, I think. All right. Be your own advocate. Communicate with your team. We're not to the next handout yet. Making myself heard. Now let's pretend that you're upset because you've left messages for your case manager and they haven't returned your call. And you have a doctor's appointment next week and you'd like for the case manager to attend the session since it's a first appointment. How are you going to talk to your case manager? And what are you going to do, first of all?
ask them if they can join you.
We've already done that. You've left messages and you haven't heard back. What do you do?
You have to be honest, truthful with your doctor, like your psychiatrist, psychologist, but be honest and truthful with the case manager too.
Right now, we're talking about standing up for yourself. You have and I can share some personal experiences with doctors and therapists and case managers. But this scenario, your case manager isn't returning your calls. What can you do?
I usually, when that happened to me, I call the supervisor.
Bingo. That's my go-to thing. Remember earlier I told you that everybody has access to the Hamilton County Mental Health Board Clients' Rights Advocate, and you can go to them to complain, to ask questions. Even they will ask you, if you call them to complain about maybe a case manager, they'll ask, have you talked to their supervisor? Have you tried to reach out to the person in charge of the agency? They want you to try to resolve it on your own first, if you can. If you go through all the motions and do what Prince said, and reach out to a supervisor and say, look, and you do it in a proper way, which we're going to talk about in a second, and you're not cussing and screaming, you're not yelling, you're not calling people names. You say, look, I've called my case manager 3 times, I've left messages, I have an appointment coming up in a couple days, or whatever your issue is, and I'm getting really upset and frustrated that I haven't heard back. And you don't get anywhere, then you can go ahead and contact the mental health board. Yes?
My very first case manager at Talbot House, she eventually became supervisor of all those case managers there.
Did you
If
like
that's
it?
if that's a problem, go to her, who's the supervisor
Yes.
there, and she can talk to those case managers if they're not doing their jobs well and helping you out the right way.
All right.
That'd be the supervisor.
Now the book wants us to role play. Now if you don't feel comfortable role playing, you don't have to. If you do feel comfortable, I'm going to be the supervisor, and you are going to be a client who, somebody give me a scenario. You don't even have to role play the scenario, just give me a scenario where you're upset with a therapist or doctor or case manager. What did they do wrong? I think everybody in this building has shared a story with me at one point or another, everyone that I've talked to, about how they've been upset with their case manager, therapist, or doctor. Give me a scenario where you're upset about something. Yes?
My old caseworker being inappropriate.
In what way? Or can you say?
I can't repeat it because we're on.
Okay.
Can't, but
So, they're being unprofessional, using
yeah,
sexual language or bad language, or saying things that they shouldn't be saying, prying getting too personal, something like that.
yeah.
All right, I'm that person's supervisor. Who would like to role play with me on how you would talk about this situation? Here are the tricks, by the way. Use I statements, don't use you statements. Communicate your emotions. Don't use foul language. Don't try not to raise your voice. You can be angry. You can be mad. Nothing wrong with being mad. My therapist has told me that for years. Nothing wrong with being mad. Nothing wrong with being scared. Nothing wrong with being sad. It's how you handle it is what's important. So be mad that your case manager is just being unprofessional all the time, and I'm their supervisor. Talk to me about it. Who'd like to go? Nobody?
I'll pass. I don't like the role play.
Here's what the book wants you to do. Use I statements. I don't like the way, all right, I'll use my personal experiences since nobody wants to role play. My first case manager, I would go sit down and say, I'm having a problem getting through to JFS. They're supposed to call them with you, go there with you, help you through the process. My first case manager would Google JFS's phone number, print the Google results page, and hand it to me. Here, call them. Then I'd say, yeah, I want to find a cheaper apartment. So they would literally, I'm not exaggerating, they would literally Google apartments available in blank, blank, blank. And then a page would come up and they'd print the search results and hand it to me. That's all they ever did. So I want a case manager that's willing to help me more than my case manager does. I'm getting really frustrated with this lady because every time I ask her to help me with something, all she does is print Google search results and hand them to me. I don't think that's right. Is it? Those are the kind of conversations that I had with her supervisor. I eventually got a new case manager.
That's what I did. I told,
Yeah.
I lived with my sister for 6 months. If you don't mind me,
Yeah.
David. I lived with my sister for 6 months, and my caseworker would come to Loveland
Uh-huh.
and come and pick me up, and he said, like, no more afternoon appointments. We're doing morning appointments from now on. And so I told my sister that, and my sister said that my caseworker was out of line for saying that. It's up to you on when you schedule your appointments.
Not necessarily.
What do you mean by that?
That's something that you have to cooperate and compromise on. So you may have a case manager who has 20 clients, and they had 19 before they got you as the 20th, and those other 19s are all taking up their afternoons or have afternoons. So let's say that you have an afternoon appointment with a doctor and you want your case manager to go with you. Well, maybe that case manager had an afternoon appointment scheduled with somebody else. So they may ask that other person, hey, I can't see you in the afternoon because I've got this other client that needs me to go to the doctor. So they're trying to balance the needs and weigh the pros and cons and see who needs the more help. So if you're just having a routine appointment with a case manager, but another client like myself, my case manager is going to go with me to an MRI because I'm claustrophobic, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen an MRI. It's a tiny tube that they stick you in. For me, it feels like I'm being buried alive. She's going to go with me to an MRI and hold my hand while I'm laying in the MRI machine.
No, I
That's
didn't
how
have
nice
an
my case
appointment.
manager is.
David, I didn't have an appointment with my caseworker. I had an appointment with my psychiatrist at that time.
Okay.
And then, like, my sister could tell that there was something wrong with me. Like, at first I didn't want to talk about it, and
Uh-huh.
she said, like, when you are ready to talk about it, come get me.
And what was wrong?
That's what was wrong.
I don't understand. The fact that he canceled your appointments, or what happened?
No, he drove all the way to Loveland, and he said it was too far away.
Oh. Is Loveland a different county than
It's in
Hamilton?
Claremont County.
No,
Oh, yeah.
2 counties.
I think you said Claremont County.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, it's in Claremont County.
Well, that may have, that's a case where I would have followed Prince's advice and gone to their
That's what
supervisor
I
and said,
did.
and what did their supervisor say, by the way?
My sister was with me when I told the
Mhm.
supervisor, we called the supervisor,
And what'd they say?
and they appointed me a new caseworker after
See?
that.
Did that caseworker drive to Loveland? I'm curious if driving to Loveland was the issue.
Yeah,
Okay. So you did exactly what the book wants you to do. You stood up for yourself. You probably didn't go in there cussing and screaming,
No,
why
I
that
didn't.
man blankety blank blank blank, you know, he was. You probably went in, just had a conversation like we're having,
yeah.
told them what was wrong, what you were upset about, and
I
they fixed
called
the problem,
supervisor.
right?
I didn't go in, and I've never met the supervisor for GCB.
Yeah.
I called them and I asked my sister.
But you had a conversation, you
Yep.
didn't cuss and scream.
Nope,
So you did exactly what the book wants us to do.
sorry, Dave.
No, you're fine. Treatment planning. As you have been participating in this program, you have begun to identify your personal recovery goals. These goals will change over time and may have changed since you first identified goals that were important to you. It is important that you share these goals with your treatment providers. Good treatment relationship is based on working together, and you should make known your goals and plans for your recovery. Sometimes your treatment provider may help you develop goals based on a measurement tool that tracks your progress in your recovery. If you are sharing your personal recovery goals with your treatment provider, it may be easier to weave your goals in with the outcome goals. Your treatment plan should address you as an individual and not just your mental illness. Treatment planning is the best tool your treatment provider has to work with you. You should spend time on this and carefully plan how you and the team can work together on your recovery journey. What does all that mean? I think it's very simple. Your psychiatrist and your therapist may want you to be less angry, or be less scared, or be less depressed. Your personal goal may be to spend more time with your family, or to be more physically active, and I'm going to ask you in a minute, whoever's willing to share, what your personal goals are. Well, if your doctor's goal is to keep you less angry, and they give you medication that makes you feel like a zombie all day, that may conflict with your personal goal of staying active or doing something else. Does that make sense? So the question is, what are your goals if you're willing to share them, and if you don't want to share, just say pass, or you can just answer the second question. Does your therapist, does your case manager, does your psychiatrist know what's important to you in your life? Prince?
I think my doctor knows that, because that's what I'll be talking to him about when I see him. So he know what's important to me.
Is there a goal that you're willing and able to share with the group? You don't have to get too personal.
It's a couple of different things, but one thing that I definitely want to do is not let someone make me mad real easy, because that blows you all out of shape, and then later on you wish you wouldn't have got mad like you did. It's a lot of different things like that. It's just like Sunday, I went to the store to get something, and I was on my phone at the same time that I was paying the person at the cash register. So I shouldn't have did that, but later on what happened was I lost $20. So I was real mad. I even probably cussed in the store. And then I left, and I came back trying to backtrack to find it. Never found it doing that, and I still was mad. So I went to the bus stop, and I was standing there. I was still mad. I was going all through my pockets, because I thought I had put it in my pocket. I couldn't find it, and I was real blown out of shape until I got on the bus. This is incredible. I got on the bus and sat down, and my coat went back, and a $20 bill was right there facing me. All right.
I don't know, that's a tough one, because I think anybody who loses money would get upset.
Like, what I said was partly true earlier, but not all the way true, of being more motivated. When I first saw my first psychiatrist, Dr. Hawkins, who was my first psychiatrist, when he asked, the first question he asked is if I had any thoughts of wanting to kill myself, being said, yeah, what he recommended is, if you're motivated to find things to do requires motivation, then you don't have time to be sad to do those things.
First of all, I think it's horrible advice, because depression isn't something you can just...
Well, I was placed on psychiatric medicine,
Yeah.
and I did receive electrical shock treatments. Electrical shock treatments really helped. But
Okay.
if you do feel motivated and you have a problem be sad, if you're motivated, you don't have time to be sad. That wipes that out a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
Yeah, it's a catch-22 though, because if you're motivated, by definition, one of the symptoms of depression is lack of motivation. So if you're motivated, you're probably not depressed to begin with, which may help you keep from getting depressed. But if you're depressed, you can't get motivated, because one of the problems with depression is you don't want to do anything. So it's a catch-22. So we skipped Larry, we'll go back. What are some of your personal goals, and do your providers know what your personal goals are?
Go improve on cleaning of my apartment, personal habits.
Do they know that?
I've mentioned it.
Okay, good. That's the whole question. What are your goals, and do your providers know what your personal goals for yourself are? Because they have their own goals for you, right? So, but they do know what your personal goals are?
Yeah, let's see. Try not to think of the past so much.
Okay.
So, other ones I can't think of.
Okay. Larry,
Yeah.
does your providers know what your personal goals are? And if you feel comfortable sharing, what are some of your personal goals? All right. Do they know what you want out of life and what you want to
Try to
fit?
do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as they know, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Mr. Larry, what are some of your personal goals, if you feel comfortable sharing? If not, that's okay. But most importantly, do your providers know what's important to you?
Yeah, I know what provides the pleasure.
Okay, that's all right. John? Pass? All right. Yeah, If you haven't noticed, I don't have any problem talking. I like talking, so I tell them everything. They know what I like, they know what I don't like. When I get upset, I have no problem complaining. Well, that's one of the problems with, I have anger issues too, and I used to get angry and I couldn't let stuff go, and it would snowball. And then afterwards, like you were saying, I'd feel so bad about letting myself get so upset. I've learned to improve that, but I still have that ability to, you know, hey, I'm gonna stand up for myself if I don't think they're treating me right. So, but yeah, I have no problem letting my doctors know.
Yeah.
It's important to me. All right, we're done a few minutes early, and one of the things I like to do that isn't part of the class, but I just like to do it in groups. I like to end the class by going around the room and asking everybody to list something that, or share something that they're looking forward to in the next week. So it can be something big, like you're going on a trip. It can be something small, like, I mean, it's funny, but it's true. I always look forward to getting a hot fudge sundae at McDonald's once a week. It's just one of the little treats I let myself get. It's only $1.50 or something. So what's something you're looking forward to? We'll go this way this time. What's something you're looking forward to in the next week?
I'm looking forward to going to a concert that's coming up.
Okay.
I like to go to concerts. I like to go to different concerts. It's not always the same music all the time. I like varieties.
Aren't you a musician
I
yourself?
play a little guitar, but I just always love music, and some people that I know, they look at me like, you still go to concerts? Yeah, I sure do.
Music has no age.
What concert are you going to, Prince?
Oh, this one is, it's gonna be up here on, at Ludlow Garage.
Okay.
It's a jazz musician named Norman Brown, and then he got a couple other guys with him that's, you know what I'm saying, trying to say individual.
Yeah. Local
music.
guys?
No, they're not local. They're what do you call that? When a person goes on their own.
Independent.
Yeah, independent. He got a couple of them guys with him also. I said, man, that's gonna be pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's something you're looking forward to in the next week?
Probably my toenails, probably get to a doctor.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
The only thing I can think of, but this will be within the next few weeks.
Sure.
I'll be receiving my bonus check down the rest of a part-time job at, because around Christmas time, shortly before Christmas time of each year,
Okay.
if you've been down at this restaurant for more than 1 year, then at Christmas time you receive a bonus check.
So Bob's buying us all lunch at Montgomery Inn today.
Yeah.
That works.
Larry, what's something you're looking forward to in the next week? Taking a nap, watching a football game, hot fudge sundae? Pass? All right. John, what's something you're looking forward to in the next week?
I'm looking forward to spending a week, I'm looking forward to spending Christmas Eve with my family, the week with my sister.
Okay. I don't know why I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm looking forward to the Bengals game.
I'm looking forward to that too.
But the good thing is, even if they lose, they maybe get a better draft pick, so.
They're gonna lose.
Yeah. All right, well, you guys have a good week.